Andrew Hall is the man you see there. He is one of Citigroup Energy Arm's Fibro's top traders. According to the Wall Street Journal, in 2008, he made the struggling firm nearly $700 million. He took home $100 million. 2009 is not over yet, but apparently he has made it, Andrew Hall has made it clear he and his team will leave Citigroup if new rules set up by the government curb his pay. Now, obviously, there's a big issue because taxpayers now own 34% of Citigroup. What do we do with this one? Dan Mitchell joins us. He is senior fellow at the CATO Institute. Christian Weller is senior fellow at the Center for American Progress. Good to have both of you with us, as always. All right, this is an interesting one, Dan Mitchell. Obviously, we do not know what his pay will be this year. We have reports that he's doing very well. He made $100 million last year. What if he does as well or better for the firm this year? Should he be allowed to take that sort of money home, considering that he has a contract where that's what he would get?
Well, I have to admit I'm a little bit conflicted on this issue. I think if a company is sticking its snout in the public trough and using the coercive power of government to steal money from taxpayers, as far as I'm concerned, any restriction and inconvenience that they have to suffer is very appropriate, because I don't want bailouts, and I want to make bailouts as unpleasant as possible so we don't have more companies running to the government for special favors. On the other hand, it is so dangerous to give politicians, who are probably the least competent people in our entire society, to give them power to start interfering with and dictating private sector pay. Now, of course, these companies aren't genuine private sector companies because they're getting bailouts, but what concerns me is that it's going to spread like a cancer as politicians decide they like this power, especially because it makes people come to them begging for favors, giving them campaign contributions. Very sordid.
Well, Christian, what do you say? I mean, I think you probably agree on this one, both of you, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, to some degree, I actually agree with Dan. I knew this time would come where we actually find some common ground. The main thing here is we have excessive executive pay in the country. We have an unlevel playing field between corporate managers and shareholders. In this case, the government is the shareholder. But generally, the direction that Congress and the Treasury and Ken Feinberg and others are pushing for is more level playing field. Greater transparency, greater focus on the long-term health of a company, less excessive risk-taking, and ultimately a stronger economy. So I think the main thing here is that the government doesn't want to run companies.
So what are we going to do in this case, though?
Like, we are shareholders and we want to have a level playing field. We want to make sure that the companies that we invested in will survive for the long run.
So each of you, what would you advise Vikram Pandit do right now? Now, all we have is a report that was published saying that Mr. Hall, the trader here, said he would leave if he didn't get his money. Now, I don't know whether he really said that, but what would you tell Vikram to do?
I agree with Dan. I think in the end, I think it's in the company's best interest to say, like, hold on a minute to Mr. Hall. This may not be paying you at $100 million is probably not the best way of handling this situation, because it's going to get everybody riled up, it's going to get everybody angry, and it's ultimately going to make life a lot harder for Citigroup. So I think... All
right, what would you say, Dan?
I say that Citigroup should do its best to somehow get out of the business of mooching off the taxpayers, become a genuine private sector company,
okay, Dan, hold on. I'm
going
to force you here to answer the question specifically about what you tell Vikram Pandit to do about Mr. Hall.
Well, if you have an employee who's making you $700 million and you're not going to make that $700 million if you don't pay him $100 million, then obviously it's in the best interest of your shareholders, including the unfortunate taxpayers who are now your shareholders, then you should pay them $100 million, and you should tell these idiot bureaucrats and politicians in Washington to stay out of private sector decision-making.
Okay, so in this case, though, you pay him, Christian.
It's Ken Feinberg who is the pay-czar. It's not Congress meddling. It's not the Treasury meddling. It's really Ken Feinberg saying, like, look, let's take a close look at this. What is in the best interest of Citigroup? What's in the best long-term interest of the country and the company in order to rein in excessive risk-taking, in order to make sure that we have enough money to invest in the long-term future.
You know full well, though, that Feinberg is going to have Congress down his throat on this one.
Sorry?
You know that Feinberg will have Congress watching what he does on this one very closely.
Well, clearly, but in the end, it is an argument over what is in the best interest of the company and the country. And the question is, would Mr. Hall would have performed as well, generating $700 million, if he only got $35 million or only $10 million? I'm sure there's a lot of unemployed traders out there who'd be happy to work for a fraction of what he's getting.
But would they make $700 million, though? This guy obviously has a special talent.
This is not like Michael Jordan playing basketball. This is a skill that you can learn. You can become a trader and a well-trained trader.
I don't know that everyone would agree with that.
Yeah, this guy obviously has a special talent. The best thing for the country is get the politicians, get the government out of the business of interfering with the private sector. That's what caused the financial crisis in the first place.
Well, but nobody is saying we want to hang on here for the company's sake. Just because we like the government being the owner. I mean, the main goal here is to create a level playing field for shareholders and managers so that we ultimately get rid of these excesses that we've seen.
It's not the government's business.
Dan, Christian, thank you. I'm sure we will hear more about this issue.